You are listening to Second Chance Ministry Radio. How was the Bible assembled? Many Christians, such as myself, we find ourselves asking that question. Pastor Andrew will now address that question. Enjoy and have a glorious day.
How was the Bible assembled?
Somebody asked me this question at our last meeting. I told them write it down. I've been thinking about an easy way to consolidate that answer. It's hard for me to tell you in 3 minutes what happened over 3,500 years. It's a very interesting history about the assembly of the Bible. Of course, the Bible is divided into the books of the Old and New Testament, and I'll just split them here to give you an idea. Here's my New Testament. Old Testament is probably almost 3/4 of the Bible, because I've got a concordance here as well. These scriptures were assembled, and the books all recognized as sacred before Christ was born. And so this was a little easier. The New Testament books were assembled over a period of several hundred years. Many of the modern versions of the Bible that we have now, King James Version and others, they were built on the assembly of books that came down through Tyndale, Wycliffe, Luther, and some of the techniques that they used to evaluate the inspiration of books. They would compare the content of the books with other books that were known to be inspired. They would also look at the books that Jesus quoted from. Now, wouldn't you all agree that, for instance, when in Matthew 24 Jesus said, "When you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet," would that make you believe that Daniel was a prophet? And so, obviously, books that Christ referred to and quoted from were pretty safe. You've got several books in the New Testament. Peter says in 2 Peter chapter 3, "As our beloved brother Paul has written to you, some things hard to understand, as in other scriptures people rest to their own destruction." I'm paraphrasing here. So he refers to the writings of Paul, Peter does, and calls them Scripture. So, writings of Paul, would they be inspired? Mm-hmm. And so, through doing some very careful scholarship and work, they took the books that they believed were the safest. There are other books that are probably accurate historically, but they didn't seem to have the inspirational illumination of the books that were kept in the sacred canon.
You are listening to Second Chance Ministry Radio.